series. How do I know if new study findings can be generalized to my health promotion initiatives, the approach I'm taking? Welcome to our Good Question series. It's a series about connecting research and practice. My name is Paul Terry. I'm the Senior Fellow at HERO, and I'm going to dedicate this series to Dr. Larry Green, who's the most preeminent scholar in our field, and what he would often say in presentations: if we want more evidence-based practice, we need more practice-based evidence. And so that's the spirit in which this new series is conducted. So here's a good question in our Good Question series. How do I know if new study findings can be generalized to my health promotion initiatives, the approach I'm taking? It's not only a good question, it's a very timely question, because in this past year, probably the most important large-scale randomized controlled trial comes out of China. And is that generalizable? It's published by Dr. Wang and colleagues. The title of the article was Effect of a Workplace-Based Multi-Component Intervention in Hypertension Control. You'll see references to these various resources I'm mentioning right below this video. This was published in JAMA Cardiology, but do not fret if you don't happen to have access to Cardiology Journal or don't want to pay the freight on the article. You'll see I have several other resources where we evaluated this article and got the discussion going on your behalf as well. Listen to this intervention: 60 workplaces, 20 urban regions in China, a program that went a full 2 years, reached over 4,000 participants. This was the punchline. The intervention group had 66% of the participants achieve blood pressure control, which is significantly higher than the 44% of blood pressure control found in the control group. What's more, this was not, as it turned out, just a hypertension study. They reduced excessive salt consumption by 32%, affected an 18% reduction in the use of alcohol, and participants reported 23% lower rates of perceived stress. So this was a big deal study. It's not nearly gotten as much attention as some of the studies in America that were randomized controlled trials that didn't get very good results. That's all the more reason I'm eager for you to look at these references I'm about to name for you. Well, what did they do to get those amazing results? In short, you could characterize this as a best practices approach, a social ecological model where they were as interested in environmental, cultural, policy changes as they were in the more traditional individual interventions that some of the more recent studies in America have evaluated. So back to our question: would this be generalizable? It makes me mindful of one of the most important questions you can ask in generalizable research, and that is, does this fit within the specificity generalizability paradox? It's a paradox that says the more specific an intervention is to one setting or one context, maybe one culture, the less generalizable those findings might be. So what's the answer? Well, it so happened you'll see in these resources at the bottom of this page under this video, we had the good fortune of doing a webinar at HERO with these scholars, the researchers of this program in China. I asked them how generalizable it is and whether or not programs as they get instituted in China would be easy to replicate here in the United States. And the quick answer, said Dr. Zhang, one of the co-authors of this study, was China is a collectivism culture, America is an individualism culture. It was his way of saying you have to look carefully at which aspects of this study you think you could easily replicate and which aspects of these studies would be hard to pull off in your culture. So the real bottom line answer to the question about generalizability is it's not a hard and fast one-size-fits-all answer. It really should be the start of a conversation. When you read a study like this, you should start the conversation about what do we share in common with the Chinese and these workplaces, which ways are we quite different. So for more on that question, I really urge you obviously to look at our resources that we're making available for you. You see a reference to the JAMA Cardiology article. You'll see an article I wrote. It's called External Validity and Worksite Wellness, Lessons from China and Illinois, another of the US studies I was referring to. There's a free article hyperlink there for you to access. HERO has done its analysis of the hypertension study at China, and so look under the HERO resources page, and I give you a link to that. And then finally, as I mentioned, we had the good fortune of doing a webinar. I co-hosted that webinar with Dr. Ron Getzel from Johns Hopkins University. Look into the HERO website, look at the link that I provided, and take a look at the interview we did with these researchers. Again, one of the most important studies of the last year. Hope you get familiar with it, and I hope you find these resources helpful. Work smart, play hard, see if you can pay it forward at some time this week. Thanks for watching.